Hi, I'm Eric Freeman. I'm a biologist working out of Fish and Game's Pocatello office. Following is a brief update on deer populations in the southeast region and our proposals for the 2025 and 2026 hunting seasons. We monitor 3 deer populations in the southeast region. These are the caribou, the portneuf, and the bannock populations. These graphs illustrate the most recent population surveys for each of those areas. Note that the portneuf population hasn't been surveyed recently, and we hope to undertake that survey next year. The productivities of these landscapes varies, as do the factors that influence deer abundance. For example, the caribou population is the most productive, but it's also the most likely to be impacted by severe winter events. In contrast, the bannock population is slightly less productive, but maintains a more consistent population size because winters are generally less severe. The reality is that most deer populations across southeastern Idaho are depressed, although certainly more so in some areas than in others. If we look at the total antlered harvest in the region, you can see the impacts of the 3 severe winters that have occurred over the past 8 years, with corresponding drops in harvest in 2017, 2019, and 2023. It's noteworthy that harvest in several units on the western side of the region has rebounded, and in 2024 was likely similar to harvest in 2016 before the string of harsh winters. However, harvest on the eastern side of the region remains depressed and near historic lows. The season setting process is the department's procedure for implementing harvest management. However, the tools available to the department to increase the number of deer on the landscape following severe winters are quite limited, particularly when populations are driven by winter weather like they are in the southeast region. One of those tools is antlerless harvest, and this graph shows the past 15 years of antlerless harvest in the region. Note that after the 2017 winter, we dramatically reduced this opportunity, and following the 2019 winter, we essentially eliminated this opportunity. It's also important to note that antlerless harvest is an important management tool, and it can provide extensive hunting opportunities to youth while not negatively impacting the population in many circumstances. For example, hunters were harvesting a large number of does between 2012 and 2016, and populations were still growing rapidly. Alternatively, changes to antlered hunting opportunities, which currently make up most of the season setting and harvest management conversation in the southeast region, have very little ability to impact the recovery of a deer herd from severe winters. This is because the reproductive capacity of the population isn't influenced when bucks are harvested, as long as pregnancy rates remain high, which they do even with relatively low buck-to-doe ratios. Therefore, antlered hunting opportunities are generally more about social preferences than they are about biological requirements. Speaking of social preferences, Southeast Region staff frequently hear from the public that they'd like to encounter more and larger bucks on the landscape. At the same time, repeated surveys of Idaho's hunting public have made it very clear that sportsmen want to be able to hunt every year with their friends and family. With these priorities in mind, the Southeast Region initiated the Southeast Idaho Mule Deer Advisory Committee. The committee was invited to develop harvest management proposals that would maintain the opportunity to hunt every year while at the same time improving hunter experiences, likely by increasing the number or size of bucks they encountered while hunting. These proposals were vetted by the department and are now part of this season setting package. The most impactful of these proposals are to change the October 10th to the 24th general seasons in Units 76 and 73A from being any weapon opportunities to being muzzleloader and archery only opportunities. These units would only have the archery and muzzleloader seasons, and the proposal will be evaluated separately for the 2 units. This proposed change would be initiated as an experiment, documenting hunter numbers, harvest, and sex ratio changes that occurred with the modified weapons restrictions. It's likely that the proposed change to the general season would meet the goal of increasing the number and quality bucks in these units by decreasing the proportion of hunters who harvest. Reasons for concern about the proposal include the inability to use centerfire rifles on these hunts and the potential for hunters who don't want to participate in a muzzleloader only season to be displaced to other units. While we do have some idea of what will likely happen if this rule change occurred, many things are unknown. Harvest rates would likely decrease, buck-to-doe ratios would likely increase. However, Fish and Game doesn't know what the public response to these changes might be. Will participation in the units with modified general seasons go down dramatically? Will hunters return to these units as the buck-to-doe ratio or the hunting experience improves? Understanding how hunters respond and if reduced success rates is a trade-off hunters are willing to make for a different hunting experience could be important for management decisions down the road. The second group of proposals from the committee would modify the hunt structures in 2 of the controlled hunt units. First is a proposal to convert the unlimited controlled archery season in Unit 70 back to a general season. This was a general season previously and would align Unit 70 with other controlled hunt units in the region. Second is a proposal to add a 100-tag muzzleloader hunt in Unit 70 between the archery and any weapon hunts. This addition would correspond with a 50-tag decrease in the number of any weapon tags in the unit. And third is a similar proposal for Unit 78, adding a 50-tag muzzleloader hunt and reducing the any weapon tags by 25. These last 2 recommendations replace a portion of the existing any weapon tags with a higher number of muzzleloader tags. Total buck harvest should remain similar to current levels in these 2 units because of differences in success rates, but each of these changes would allow more hunters to participate in these desirable areas. The final proposal does not come from the Southeast Idaho Mule Deer Committee. This proposal would add an extra hunt with 200 tags for antlerless white-tailed deer across most of the Southeast region. While white-tail densities remain very low, small numbers are being observed across most of the region. This would provide an opportunity to harvest these deer and address crop damage that's occurring in a few areas. If you'd like to discuss these proposals further, we'll be holding 4 public meetings around the region over the next 2 weeks. Alternatively, you can call the regional office or comment on these proposals online. We'd love feedback on how to improve these proposals or make them more palatable or desirable while still meeting the desires of sportsmen. Thanks for your time, and please reach out if you have any questions.